She walked out on her family like we were furniture. 6 years later, she came back expecting her throne, only to find another woman standing where she used to rule. But the war she thought she'd win with words ended with sirens, shattered glass, and the entire room watching justice unfold in real time. Let's begin. I remember the exact day everything started to shift, even though it looked like any other Tuesday. I just finished a long plumbing job out in Rockford, 2 hours away from home. I walked through the door at 8:27 p.m., exhausted, uniform still damp from crawling under a leaky water main, only to find Evelyn sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone like she'd been waiting for someone else to arrive. She barely looked up. "We need to talk about upgrading the car," she said, swiping left. "That Civic's embarrassing." I blinked. "Hey, to you too." That was Evelyn in a nutshell. Always a little too shiny, a little too obsessed with how things looked rather than what they meant. But I loved her. God, I loved her back then. We met in high school, both of us dumb and idealistic. She was the girl with dreams bigger than our small Wisconsin town, and I was the guy willing to build them brick by brick. We married young. We thought love could survive anything, and for a while it did. We had 2 beautiful kids, Mason and Lily. Life wasn't luxurious, but it was full. I worked with my hands. Long hours, busted knuckles, grimy fingernails, but it kept the lights on. Evelyn worked part-time as a receptionist at a local spa, mostly for the discounts and the chance to gossip. Somewhere along the line, her friend's circle changed. Suddenly, it wasn't just spa girls and PDA moms. It was real estate wives, influencer types, women who wore Louboutin heels to grocery stores and casually dropped street barts in a conversation like it was the county fair. Evelyn became obsessed with not looking poor. Designer bags showed up in the closet, tags still attached. Brunches that cost half our grocery budget. Spa treatments billed to membership deals that never made it into our budget spreadsheet. It started small, lipstick here, handbag there, but it escalated like a fever. And the worst part? She lied. I started noticing receipts that didn't match up with her stories. New perfume, claimed it was a gift from a friend. Spa weekend, said it was work-related. But I saw the way she looked at me when she thought I wasn't watching, like I was the anchor to her hot air balloon, the thing keeping her from rising. I confronted her one night. "Where is this money coming from, Evelyn?" I asked, holding a bank statement in my calloused hands. "You're spending like we won the lottery." She rolled her eyes. "You wouldn't understand. I'm doing this for us, for our image. What does Mason need with a $600 baby jacket?" I barked. "Is it lined with gold?" "Don't yell," she snapped, stepping back like I'd threatened her. "This is why I don't tell you anything. You never get it." Her voice was icy, the kind that freezes every word before it leaves your mouth. It was the first time I realized she didn't want partnership anymore. She wanted sponsorship. Our fights became ritual. The same tired lines, the same brick walls. Then came the night I woke up alone. The bed was cold, quiet. She always snored softly, and now there was only silence. I found a note on her pillow. "Brady, I need to do this for me. I've met someone. He sees the world the way I do. I'll be back in a few years. We can pick up where we left off." My heart stopped, not metaphorically, literally. I couldn't breathe. I read it again. And again. She left. Just like that. Left our children. Left me. For a someone who could offer her what I couldn't. Escape. And yet, the most delusional part? She thought she'd come back. Like we were a bookmarked page in a book she hadn't finished. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. The next morning, I made the most painful calls of my life. I called her mother. I called her best friend. No one knew where she went. She hadn't told a soul, just vanished. Mason was 10, Lily was 7, and I had to tell them that Mommy wasn't coming back. Lily clutched her teddy bear and asked me if Mommy had gone to heaven. I said no, but in my chest, something holy did die. That was the day I stopped being a husband. I became a single father overnight, with 2 devastated children and a pile of debt shaped like Gucci boxes and Instagram filters. But that was only the beginning. The morning after Evelyn vanished was the hardest day of my life, until the next one came, and the one after that. Because the truth is, survival doesn't happen in one epic moment. It happens in thousands of small, invisible ones. Like teaching Mason how to tie his tie before his 5th grade graduation when Evelyn should have been there to take pictures. Or sitting on the bathroom floor with Lily after her first bad dream without her mom. or holding it together when her favorite cereal wasn't on the shelf, and she quietly said, "It's okay, Daddy." She probably took it with her. For a while, I ran on autopilot. Wake up, feed kids, work double shifts, cry in the truck, smile at bedtime, repeat. I pawned the wedding ring first, then her luxury watches, then the espresso machine she never let me touch. The irony was brutal. Evelyn left me in debt, but her absence was the only thing making us solvent. I took on plumbing jobs I had no business accepting. Sewage backups, crawl spaces in 100-degree heat, collapsed water lines in the dead of winter. My knuckles were cracked, fingers bruised daily. But each cut paid for lunch. Each burn kept the lights on. Nights were the worst. Not because I missed her. I did, but not in the way I expected. I missed the version of her I believed in, the one who whispered dreams to me under the covers before her kids were born. The woman who held my hand when we picked out baby names. That Evelyn, she never came back from those brunches. She got swallowed whole by the world she chased. At first, I thought I'd break. I thought maybe I'd lose the house, the kids, my job, maybe even myself. But something else happened instead. I changed. I became harder. Not in a cruel way, but stronger, more focused, ruthless, even in pursuit of stability. I stopped waiting for her shadow to fade. I threw away the silk pillowcases she loved, painted over her accent wall, boxed up her photo albums, and tossed them in the attic. I made lists, grocery lists, budget spreadsheets, birthday planning calendars. I organized the chaos she left behind into manageable piles. The kids were my compass. Mason struggled with anger. He'd get quiet and punch his pillow when he thought I wasn't watching. Lily became a clinger, scared of silence, terrified of being alone. So I got therapy. For them. And eventually, for me. I didn't realize how deeply her absence had carved into my soul until I said it out loud to a stranger. She left. For years. And expected me to wait. I cried during that first session. Ugly, shoulder-shaking sobs that I'd locked away behind drywall and plumbing invoices. But I didn't cry after that. I healed. Slowly. Brutally. Completely. And then, one day I saw her Instagram post. Living free. Finally me. She was in Santorini, wearing white linen. With him. I didn't feel jealousy. I didn't feel hate. I felt rage, but not the hot kind. The cold, calculated kind that brews quietly and never really leaves. I clicked unfollow. 2 weeks later, I filed for divorce. She never responded. Didn't even contest it. I suspect she didn't even see the notification. Probably filtered into a junk folder between her flight confirmations and yoga retreat invites. It was the easiest part of the entire ordeal. I sold the house, every hallway echoing with our old life. I moved into a small, 2-bedroom place in Brooksville. Nothing fancy, but it had a big backyard and a porch swing. The kids adapted quickly. Mason joined the school's robotics club. Lily started drawing again, her pictures slowly transforming from gray clouds to bright sunrises. We made new routines. Tuesday tacos, Friday movies, Sunday laundry parties with music blasting through the kitchen. And somewhere along the way, I realized something I never thought possible. We were okay. Better than okay. We were thriving. Then one afternoon at the grocery store, a woman dropped a jar of sauce near me. I bent to help her, and our eyes met. Emily. She had this calm about her, like silence wrapped in sunlight. Nothing flashy. No designer handbag. Just soft eyes and an easy smile. She thanked me, made a joke about clumsiness, and walked away. I should have let her go. But the universe had other plans. 2 days later, I saw her again, at the library. Lily had a reading challenge, and Emily was volunteering with the program. She waved at me like we were old friends. We got coffee, then lunch, then months of long walks and gentle laughter. She didn't ask about Evelyn. She didn't try to fix me. She just showed up. It was terrifying, and exactly what I needed. I told her everything. My mistakes, my exhaustion, my fears of failing the kids again. She didn't flinch. "I'm not here to replace anyone," she said. "I'm just here if you want someone in your corner." And I did. God, I did. By the time a year had passed, Emily and I had built something stronger than any dream Evelyn ever sold me. Not a fantasy. A life. Real. Messy. Beautiful. Mason called her Coach M, after she helped him train for track. Lily baked her a birthday cake shaped like a book. It felt like peace. But peace I've learned, doesn't last forever. Because peace is exactly what makes the storm so shocking when it returns. It began with a missed call. Then two. Then a voicemail from an unknown number. It was Evelyn. And she was back. The day Evelyn came back into our lives felt like a ghost broke through the front door. It started with a call. Unknown number. I was in the kitchen, helping Lily frost cupcakes for her school bake sale. Mason was in the living room doing his homework. Emily was humming something under her breath as she prepped dinner. The phone rang once. Twice. I answered without thinking. Elijah? What the hell is going on? The voice punched through me like ice water. It wasn't tentative or apologetic. It was angry. Entitled. Evelyn. Who are these people living in our house? She snapped. Our house. The one I sold 5 years ago. I blinked, stunned. What are you talking about? I came back. She said like it was the most natural thing in the world. I went to our house, and there were strangers there. They said they bought it years ago. What the hell happened? For a second, I forgot how to breathe. Then it hit me. She wasn't just calling to say she was back. She was calling to reclaim something, as if the world had stood still waiting for her return. I laughed. It just slipped out. I couldn't help it. Evelyn, you left. You left us. You didn't just go out for groceries. You vanished. For 6 years. You had no right to sell our house. She barked, ignoring every word. It wasn't our house anymore, I said slowly. You signed nothing. Made no payments. You didn't show up in court. I filed for divorce. It was finalized years ago. You were legally notified. You chose not to respond. She went quiet. I could hear her breathing. Then, I'm coming back. I want my family. My hand clenched around the phone. You don't have a family here anymore. That's when her voice turned venomous. So what? You just moved on? Got remarried like I never existed? You think that woman, that fake, can replace me? I breathed slowly. No one's replacing anyone. You replaced yourself the night you walked away. She exploded. Rants. Screams. Accusations. She said I'd poisoned the kids against her. Said I'd brainwashed them. That I cheated by getting married again. You didn't wait for me, she cried. I wasn't supposed to. I said, calm but firm. You weren't coming back. You told us not to wait. You'll regret this, she hissed, voice shaking. I'll make sure of it. And she hung up. Emily was in the doorway. She'd heard the whole thing. I looked at her, shaken, but not surprised. She's back, I whispered. Emily nodded once. Her eyes hard. Let her come. We're not scared. But fear wasn't the issue. Evelyn didn't want reunion. She wanted reclaiming. She didn't return with remorse. She returned with rage. Like she could stroll back into a movie paused on her cue and press play again. Over the next week, the calls didn't stop. Multiple numbers. Multiple voices. Her cousin, her old friend from high school. All trying to mediate on her behalf. She's changed, one said. She's sorry. She's delusional, I replied. And legally divorced. Then she started contacting Mason and Lily. Messaging them from burner social media accounts. Miss you. Mommy's home. Let's be a family again. Mason blocked her. Lily cried. I filed for a restraining order. She retaliated with threats. I'll challenge the divorce. It wasn't fair. I wasn't there to contest it. Because you disappeared, my lawyer said, exasperated. You can't vanish and then claim ignorance. But she didn't care about facts. She cared about control. She tried another angle. Emily. Somehow she got her number. The text started as passive-aggressive. You think you're a better woman than me? You'll never be their real mom. Then escalated. Elijah is mine. You're just a placeholder. Emily showed me the messages one evening as we folded laundry. Her hands didn't shake. Her voice didn't waver. She's unraveling. Emily said simply. And she's not going to stop until she hits something hard. I nodded. Then let her hit me. No. Emily replied, eyes steel. She'll hit me. I went back to my lawyer, got the restraining order expedited, delivered it via sheriff's notice. And that should have been the end of it. But Evelyn was a hurricane with nowhere to land. She started spreading lies around town. Said I cheated. Said Emily seduced me when Evelyn was abroad on a mental health retreat. Said I sold her house without consent. Claimed our kids had been turned into strangers by a vindictive, manipulative father. The few who knew her history didn't buy it. The others? They whispered. But I didn't care. Not really. Until the night Evelyn showed up at my company's formal dinner. She was on the arm of my boss. I nearly dropped my wine glass. Emily saw her first. Her spine straightened, but her voice remained even. Don't react. That's what she wants. Evelyn strutted toward us like a soap opera villain. Lipstick, black dress, high heels that screamed drama. Elijah, she said loud enough to turn heads. Wow, what a surprise. I gave her a tight nod. Evelyn. Emily extended a calm, polite hand. Hi, I'm Emily. Evelyn didn't even look at her. So this is her. Huh, she sneered. This is what you left me for. Before I could respond, Evelyn's voice turned sharp. You really think you can replace me with this? Some housewife knockoff. I gently grabbed Emily's hand. We were just leaving, but Evelyn wasn't done. She turned to the crowd, my colleagues, my boss, and raised her voice. This man is a liar. He stole my children, sold my house, married a woman he barely knows. The room froze. Emily took a breath. Enough. You don't get to speak to me. Evelyn snapped. And then, without warning, she slapped Emily across the face. The ballroom gasped. What happened next wasn't chaos. It was calculated. Emily didn't flinch. She stepped forward and unleashed years of buried fury. A clean takedown. An MMA train, disciplined, ruthless dismantling. The room erupted. Tables pushed back. Glass shattered. My boss fled the scene. Evelyn was on the ground, blood on her dress, screaming. Emily stood over her, breathing hard, eyes wild, but calm. Security dragged Evelyn away. Then police. Then handcuffs. The aftermath was surreal. But the final blow wasn't Evelyn's humiliation. It was Emily's parting words. Stay away from my husband and my kids. Or next time, no one will stop me. The room didn't laugh. It didn't cheer. It respected her. Because everyone in that room saw what we'd lived through. This wasn't drama. This was war. And Evelyn, she lost. The morning after the dinner felt like the silence after a storm. Calm, but not untouched. Emily's knuckles were bruised. Her wrists swollen. I iced it for her in the kitchen while the kids played outside, oblivious to what had happened the night before. They didn't know that their father's past had walked into a ballroom and exploded like a grenade. Do you think she's done? Emily asked, her voice even. I wanted to say yes. I needed to say yes. But I didn't believe it. Not yet. She's humiliated, I said quietly. But Evelyn doesn't give up. Not because she's brave, because she's desperate. We got confirmation of that a few days later when my lawyer received a letter. A handwritten letter from Evelyn, scribbled in long loops and messy ink. She wanted to contest the divorce. Again, she claimed the fight at the company event was proof Emily was unstable and not a good influence on her children. She's delusional, my lawyer muttered, tossing the letter aside. But persistent, I added grimly. Despite the police report, despite the restraining order, Evelyn kept trying to pull strings. She showed up at Lily's school one afternoon, claiming she was there to drop off a forgotten backpack. Luckily, the school called me first. Security escorted her off the premises. No charges were filed, but the principal looked me in the eye and said, "She's not well." Emily started sleeping a little lighter after that. She wasn't scared, but she was alert, protective. Meanwhile, the kids had questions. Why did she come back now? Mason asked one night. I didn't lie, because she realized she lost something, but it was too late. Lily stayed quiet. Then she said, "She's not the same anymore." Right? No, I replied softly. And that's not your fault. Or mine. It was clear Evelyn still wanted control. Not just over me, but over the story. She needed to be the victim, the wronged woman, the one cheated out of her happy ending. So, she kept pushing, calling relatives, posting on social media, spinning tales that didn't align with any version of truth we'd lived. But the people who mattered, they knew. Emily remained calm through it all, never once backing down or hiding. But I could tell it wore on her. The texts, the calls, the whispers, the tension. She's not after the kids, Emily said one night. She's after you. She wants your life back because she finally realizes what she threw away. That stung, not because it was wrong, but because it was right. Evelyn's life didn't turn out the way she imagined. She thought there'd be yachts, high society, expensive brunches, and a man who'd fund it all. But her fantasy cracked somewhere between the fourth passport stamp and the third man who realized she wasn't built for commitment, only conquest. Now, with no options left, She was trying to return to the one place she'd scorched. But I wasn't the same man anymore. I wasn't broken. I wasn't waiting. I wasn't hers. So we pushed forward. Emily and I finalized the last bits of the legal fallout. The restraining order was renewed and extended. Evelyn was warned. Next violation, and she'd be arrested again. We also made a decision, one that hadn't been easy. We were going to move again, not because we were afraid, but because we deserved peace. The kind you don't have to guard with locks and paperwork. The kids took it surprisingly well. Lily even helped pick the new house, an old craftsman-style place on a quiet street with a porch swing and a rose bush out front. This one feels like home, she said. And that was enough. We left behind the noise, the rumors, the history. And as we packed, I found one of Evelyn's old letters in a drawer, unopened, probably from the early months after she vanished. I didn't read it. I burned it, because closure doesn't come from reading old words. It comes from writing new ones. We moved in on a warm Saturday morning, sunlight spilling across the wooden floors of the new house, the kind of soft gold that makes you believe in second chances. Emily unpacked the kitchen while Mason set up his speakers in his room. Lily immediately claimed the bedroom with the bay window. I want to see the stars while I sleep, she said with a smile that made every fight worth it. There was no trace of Evelyn here. No old arguments etched into the walls. No perfume clinging to the hallways. Just peace. Real peace. And for the first time in 6 years, I believe it might last. The new neighborhood was quiet. The neighbors waved. The schools were smaller, more personal. Lily made a best friend within 2 weeks. Mason joined the local basketball team. Emily started a weekend book club with a few women from town. Life didn't just resume, it blossomed. But just when you think you're done with the past, it finds a way to knock again. This time, it came through a lawyer. A letter, not from Evelyn, but on her behalf. She was suing for visitation rights. My jaw clenched as I read the words. She wanted court-ordered time with the kids. After abandoning them. After violence. After everything. My lawyer stared at me across the desk. She doesn't stand a chance. But she's going to try. And she did. She filed motions, sent statements, even hired a PR firm to make her look like a misunderstood mother seeking redemption. On paper, she painted herself as a victim of circumstance. Emotionally overwhelmed. Misguided. Temporarily unwell. She even brought up mental health diagnoses she claimed explained her 6-year disappearance. She's playing the long game, Emily said one night as we read through the latest papers. She wants access, not because she loves them, but because they represent you. She's trying to get under your skin. She wasn't wrong, but the truth had always been our greatest weapon. So we fought back. We brought in records, witnesses, the restraining order, the abandonment documentation, the therapist's evaluations, even letters from the kids' teachers and pediatrician, all attesting to their stability, safety, and emotional health without her. Then came the final blow, Mason's letter. He insisted on writing it himself. I know she's my biological mom, he wrote, but I don't know her, and I don't want to. She hurt my dad. She scared my sister. She walked away. I don't care about apologies now. I just want to keep living without worrying about her. He read out loud in court, voice steady, jaw clenched. Lily held Emily's hand the whole time. The judge listened, nodded slowly, and made the ruling final. Request for visitation denied. Permanently. No appeal. No loopholes. Just a closed door, finally. Afterward, we celebrated quietly. Pizza. A movie night. Mason fell asleep halfway through. Lily dozed off in my arms. Emily looked over at me, tears in her eyes. We're safe now. And we were. Years passed. Emily and I got remarried. Officially, with a real ceremony this time. Nothing huge, but real. Mason stood as my best man. Lily threw petals like she'd invented the concept. We didn't talk about Evelyn anymore. Not because we were scared, but because she didn't matter. The kids grew. I grew. Emily's love remained steady through it all. Gentle, fierce, unshakable. Not a replacement. A reward. The kind of partner who shows up in the aftermath and helps you rebuild not just your house, but your heart. I wrote a letter once. To myself. The man I used to be. I folded it and tucked it into my nightstand. It said, "You thought she broke you, but you were never broken. You were becoming." Sometimes, redemption doesn't look like forgiveness. Sometimes it looks like peace. Real, quiet, earned peace. And this time, nobody could take it from me.